Hi, I'm Pam, and I'm here to talk about video games. Hello, everyone. Today I am taking a look back at some of my most anticipated games from certain points in the past and seeing where they are now. If I played them, if I liked them, if they disappointed, if they never even came out. Today I'm looking at a video from just over 5 years ago in June of 2021, which was my most anticipated games from E3. This also happened to be the very last E3 before it turned into Summer Game Fest. Also, my kitty Max is in the background of this video. Next up is Inscryption, and this is one that I didn't see live. I believe it was on the Devolver Digital presentation, but this is a game by Daniel Mullins. So I don't remember if this was the first time I'd ever heard about it, but one game I was really looking forward to was Inscryption. This was announced somewhere in E3. As someone who really likes the previous Daniel Mullin games, I really liked Pony Island. I love the Hex. I was all aboard for this one. So this looked to be a horror-inspired deck-building card game that also had some escape room elements. You were playing cards against this mysterious figure, but at the same time, you could get up from the table and walk around and solve little, escape room-like puzzles. This was announced to be coming out sometime in 2021, and it did indeed come out on October 19th for PC in 2021. Other consoles would be released later. And Inscryption absolutely did not disappoint. This is one that I played as soon as it came out. In addition to the escape room elements and deck building, card playing elements, there was also a big meta story, and there were FMV cutscenes, which you know I am always a sucker for. But it didn't even end there. Aside from the gameplay we saw in that initial trailer, things changed up throughout the game, an entirely new presentation and new spin on the card game that you'd been playing the whole time. Inscryption ended up being quite popular and very well received, and it took the number 2 spot in my top 10 games of 2021 video. And now a game that was a bit of a surprise to me, A Plague Tale Requiem, which is the sequel to A Plague Tale Innocence, one of my favorite games from the past few years. A Plague Tale Requiem was the announced follow-up to A Plague Tale Innocence, which is a game that I very much enjoyed, developed by Asobo Studio. This game was going to continue the story of Amicia and Hugo after they escaped the Inquisition and a horrifying rat plague. This is one of those action adventures that combines a number of things, a little bit of crafting, a little bit of stealth. Amicia did the fighting. In the first game, she just had a slingshot, while Hugo can control the rats. Requiem was announced to be coming out sometime in 2022, and it did release in October of that year. I played it, and I really liked it. The game is, first of all, just incredibly beautiful, combining the gorgeous French countryside with horrifying streets full of rats. The sequel really expanded on the combat specifically, whereas Amicia just had a sling in the first game, mostly to distract people. In this, she was a much more competent fighter and able of using different weapons, and Hugo's powers were increasing as well. It also just told a really good and nice story about a family and doing whatever they could in order to protect each other. This game ended up taking the number 5 spot in my top 10 games of 2022 video. The next game is Replaced, and it seems like at a lot of the Xbox conferences, there's one particular pixel art, neon, cyberpunk styled game that kind of steals the show. A few years ago, it was The Last Night, which I haven't heard anything about in a while. This time it was Replaced. So Replaced is a game by Sad Cat Studios, and it sort of stole the show for a lot of people at the Xbox Game Conference. This was a neon-soaked, pixelated, cyberpunk platformer that just had an amazing look and atmosphere. I was very impressed, as were many people who eagerly anticipated this game for quite a while. I assumed, based on the trailer we first saw, that this would be a rather combat-heavy game. It was supposed to come out in 2022, and it just came out in April of this year, 2026. I did play this when it came out, and I found that it was more of a cinematic platformer with some combat, and I'm just not really into cinematic platformers anymore. The game was indeed very gorgeous, very atmospheric, some amazing lighting elements, but I played about an hour of it and it just wasn't really for me. I felt like I was just running left to right and I got a little bored with it. It was a little too much talking for me. The combat wasn't the most exciting thing, so I did try Replaced, but I did not stick with it. So I believe this next one is what opened up the Guerrilla Collective show, and it is Firegirl. Firegirl is a game I haven't thought about at all since this conference. This game opened up the event at the Guerrilla Collective, and it was being developed by Dejima. This is an adorable looking action game where you play a new firefighter, you go out, you fight fires, you rescue civilians, and then you come back to the firehouse in order to build things up and make yourself more powerful, get new equipment, stuff like that. This is also a game that has procedurally generated levels, so while I think 5 years ago that was slightly more appealing, it is less so now. This game was supposed to come out sometime in 2021, and it did come out in December of that year. And I never played this. I actually just completely forgot all about this game. Now that I'm reminded of it, I don't really have a desire to play it, considering the procedural generated sort of roguelite elements of it. I looked it up on Steam, where it has pretty mixed reviews. Most of them kind of say it's just fine, but yeah, I don't think I'll be playing this one. One game that looked very intriguing during the Guerrilla Collective presentation is called Death Trash, and this is a very gross-looking post-apocalyptic RPG. Death Trash is developed by Crafting Legends, and it is a post-apocalyptic top-down RPG that is full of cosmic horrors. When I first saw this, I really enjoyed the pixel art. It definitely gave me some original Fallout vibes, and in fact, Fallout was a big influence on the development of this game, but it has much more modern action combat. This was going to be coming to early access in 2021, and it did release in early access in August of that year. I got a key from the developer just before early access launched, and I played it on stream when I was able to. I think I played for about 3 hours, and I thought it was really fun. It had a really good sense of humor. It had exciting combat. I liked the RPG elements of it. I had a very, very good time. Unfortunately, the game is still in early access 5 years later. The devs seem to have been slowly plugging away with it, and there is more content there than what I played on stream, but I don't really have any interest in playing anymore until it's actually completed, and I really have no idea when that will be. So when it does finally release, I will absolutely play it, but when? A surprise for me was 2 Point Campus, which is by the same developers who made 2 Point Hospital recently. 2 Point Campus is by 2 Point Studios, and it is the follow-up to the 2 Point Hospital, which is a game I really liked that was based on Theme Hospital, which was another game I liked from many years ago. This one, rather than running a hospital, has you running a university campus, managing classes, students, buildings, tuitions, decor, teachers, all of that stuff. Since I liked the first game so much, this was definitely on my radar. It was planned to release in 2022, and it did release in August of that year. I did pick this up and I played it, but it honestly wasn't my favorite. It was okay, like it's a nice, polished experience, but this one just kind of felt a bit lacking compared to 2 Point Hospital and the more recent 2 Point Museum, which I really liked. I just felt like there wasn't enough to do that was like super interesting in this game. It kind of just there was a little bit in building up the school, and then you just kind of got to a place where everything was sort of level, and yeah, it just was sort of lacking something for me. Not a bad game, but wasn't my favorite. So I didn't end up watching the Nintendo Direct, since I'm generally not as interested in the big title Nintendo games. However, there was a surprise in this one, and that is Fatal Frame Maiden of Blackwater, which is not a new game. Fatal Frame Maiden of Blackwater by Koei Tecmo. They talked about this at one of the Nintendo events and announced that this game would no longer be relegated to just the Wii U and would be released everywhere else. I am a big fan of Fatal Frame 2 especially. I love spooky ghosts and I love camera combat. This game was set to release in late 2021, and it did come out in October of that year, and I never picked this up. This has been on my Xbox wishlist for years. It is actually the oldest game on my wishlist, and for some reason, I've just been a real stickler about price on this one, which is usually not what I'm like, but this game's constantly on sale for 30% off, but I need 40% off. I'm not spending more than $30 of this port of a Wii U game. So maybe one day, maybe if they ever bump that sale amount up, I will actually get it. Looking through reviews and things, the reviews of the game are quite middling, although I am happy that it signaled a release of more Fatal Frame on modern systems, as they just put out Fatal Frame 2, a sort of remaster of that, which I also haven't played because I have the original. But I'm happy to see more Fatal Frames on modern systems. Give me 40% off and I'll buy it. The other thing that was announced at the Nintendo Direct that I'm very excited about is Danganronpa Decadence. The next game I was looking forward to was also just a port. It was Danganronpa Decadence, developed by Spike Chunsoft. This collection released 4 Danganronpa games. This is a series that I had been interested in, but they're originally only on the PSP, I think. Maybe Vita, the later ones, and I don't play handhelds. So this collection brought it to basically every other system. They are battle royale inspired visual novels with detective elements. I did pick up this game, and I did play through the first game, Trigger Happy Havoc. Overall, I enjoyed it. It's very stylish. It has good music. I like just the little text flourishes and everything. I like how dark it is. But it's also in desperate need of an editor, as these kind of visual novels generally are, as every character repeats themselves and reiterates the plot points over and over and over. So I got through the first game, and I mostly enjoyed it, but when I booted up the second game a little while later, I quickly realized that I had had enough Danganronpa for a lifetime, basically, and until they get an editor who can cut down the length of this game in half, I've probably had enough of them. But I did enjoy that they were brought to more systems, and I enjoyed the first one pretty well. A beautiful looking game that got some coverage in a couple presentations is called Behind the Frame. Behind the Frame is developed by Silver Lining Studio, and I think this game got covered in a few presentations. It looks like a very pretty, chill, narrative-focused, puzzly adventure game where you play a painter in her apartment. It sort of combines creating art as well as finding secrets, and it just looked absolutely charming. This came out in August of 2021, and I never played it for some reason. I think it's because it never released on the platform of my choice, but I actually went and looked it up again and added it to my Steam wishlist because it does look really good. Also, I saw that the devs have made a sequel in a very similar style, except this one is about photography rather than painting, which appeals to me even more. It's called A Star Named Eos, and I've added that one to my wish list too. So maybe now that I've got the Steam Deck, I can play it on my TV. I might pick those up. Also, since I've been getting really into 4-player co-op games and have actually had some friends to play online with recently, I have a lot to look forward to for those kind of games. First of all, Back 4 Blood is coming out on October 12th. Back 4 Blood is something I didn't talk about too much in this video, but I was excited for it. This is developed by Turtle Rock Studios. It was a sort of spiritual successor to the Left 4 Dead series made by many of the same devs. By the trailer, it's just like a good, rollicking, zombie-killing co-op time, and I'm always looking for 4-player co-op games. This game did end up coming out in October of 21. I played it immediately, and it was honestly a little bit disappointing. I didn't love the characters. There was a lot of annoying chatter. It used this weird level up system that used cards, which just felt very like administrative and fussy. And the biggest problem was that the difficulty was just all over the place. I think they talked about something called like the game director, which tells the game when to send monsters. And it went between like, wow, there's barely any monsters here, to, hey, here's 30 special zombies all at once. It was just like one extreme or the other. It also got pretty repetitive in terms of levels. Like, they weren't nice handcrafted levels like Left 4 Dead. They were more sort of random and repeated as you went through this game. Meant to be a game that you can play forever rather than just a campaign. So yeah, this one did end up being disappointing. It made an appearance on my most disappointing games of 2021 list, which was very sad. I did also mention a few honorable mentions in here. The one that sticks out is Metroid Dread, which, if you want to know my feelings on that, go check out my Metroid Dread video. So this was a kind of weird collection of games that I was looking forward to. I'm actually surprised that I included 2 ports in this video. A couple of these games turned out really well, and I really liked them, Inscryption and Plague Tale. A couple of them were disappointing, a couple of them I never played, and only one game, Death Trash, has still not technically released in full. So thanks for watching this video. Let me know if you played any of these games, or tell me what your memories are of the final E3, if you do remember. I honestly don't remember the actual E3. If I didn't have this video to look back on, I probably wouldn't remember anything. But yeah, that's how it went. Should have another one of these videos maybe in 6 months about my 2022 anticipated games. But in the meantime, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching this video. Check out my video about the best games of 2021 if you want to see what I thought was great in that year. I have a Patreon, or you can become a channel member if you would like to help support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.